do a very quick reading wrap up for August of 2024. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris, and today's video is just going to be a super quick wrap up of August 2024. I thought I read more than I did, but apparently I did not. So I have 4 books to talk about sort of officially today on the wrap up, and then I don't know, I was sort of in the middle of a couple of things. I did a beta read for a partial book, so I had the first third of a book, and I'm still going on a Steven Erikson book, which is just going to take me more than 1 month to get through. But before we jump into that wrap up today, make sure you're checking the description box down below for links to my social media and Discord should you want to come along for the ride. Now, like last month, I will do a bit of a spending update in terms of my load by year and what I spent for the month of August, which was super low. But I don't have a book haul for you in this one because I actually got gifted enough for my birthday and also had some pre-orders come in to do a smallish book haul on the channel. So that will probably be coming out next week. There will be an actual book haul coming out. But in terms of what I've spent myself in the month of August, I bought, ironically, the Wickwire watch, which is the Riverfall Chronicles, I think it's called. I'm currently reading it at the moment. So yes, the Riverfall Chronicles, I bought the audio for this, but because I bought the ebooks, the audio was only $3.99. And I also had to top up a voucher for some of the books that you'll see in the book haul. That I got a voucher for my birthday, and I was $2.90 short, so I topped that up, which brings my total spent in August out of my budget to $6.89. So we did very well, but it was my birthday month, so I was very blessed to be gifted quite a number of books, and like I said, I had some pre-orders come in, so I think there's roughly 20 books or so that I'll go through on the next haul, but you'll have to wait till next week for that. Jumping into the wrap up. So the first thing I read and completed in the month of September was An Exile of Water and Gold by Joshua Walker. I am waiting on the book to come in. I think it's due next week, but for now I'll put it up here. This was a fantastic and ambitious debut novel. Josh is currently in the throes of doing a book tour at the moment, so this released earlier in September and it's making the rounds. What I really loved about this book was its uniqueness and its uncompromising sort of ability to look at a couple of really key themes that we deal with in the real world and then put that into a fantastical setting. So this one is really hard to pinpoint in terms of a genre. It's an incredible genre blend of like murder mystery. We've got some philosophical fantasy in there. Obviously, there's fantasy and there's magic and things like that. But it really does take a hard look at environmentalism. And we have these characters in here. So the title is called An Exile of Water and Gold. I won't go too much into it because I don't want to give anything away. This book is an experience and deserves to be read as such and to get the whole picture and the whole story in one. But in terms of our characters and sort of the namesake of An Exile of Water, the first part of the title, we're following a character called Drift. And I really enjoyed the conversations around the names of people and sort of, I guess, the magic of people being named and then having to follow the path of their name. And I thought it was quite fascinating in terms of just like a little tidbit that I can give you in an element that I really enjoyed in that book. And something happens to Drift which makes him sort of go along that path to follow his namesake. And I just thought it was a really fascinating element of the story that we got to follow, and I quite enjoyed it. But I'm looking forward to talking to Joshua. He will be on the channel, I think, again next week. So probably next Tuesday, the video will go up. It's going to be a pre-recorded interview, and I'm hoping it will be up next week for you in place of a regular Monday video. But I've got some questions. I want to deep dive into a bit more of the story. So if you're interested in that, check that out next week. The next one that I finished, I actually started it in July and finished it in the month of August, was The Legacy of Brick and Bone by Kay Matar. I'll put that one up here. Just the Kay Matar really dives into the intricacies of human relationships, both the good and the bad, but not only that, but how complicated those two entities of good aspects of a relationship and bad aspects of a relationship can be, and unpacks them. These books are so brutally human, and you can't help but being sucked in to the characters that you have on the screen and wanting to know everything about them, or at least I couldn't. As someone who isn't character first. It's not my first focus when it comes to reading. I much prefer a world or a good plot. I have to say that Kamatar has done such a good job of really sucking me into the characters and making me need to know more, which is just an incredible feat for someone like me who will often forgive a lot of character or lacking of character because I like the plot or the world that we're in. But with these books in the Tainted Dominion, I am so invested in every single character that we're following. They're all done so well. Even the side characters have so much depth to them, and I don't think I've really experienced that in a book outside of this series where even your side characters and people that you wouldn't think would have that much stock in the bigger picture are really well fleshed out and you just want to know. So I had a good time with that one as well, and I'm now caught up to date on that series, which is great. I can put it in the I'm up to date. I don't need to read any more books in this for now, but I know there'll be another one in the future. Now, the next one I read was Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. I'm going to put my favorite cover of the series up here. I think they're like an edition one, 20, 10 years, however long it's been since they came out. This was fantastic. I have never read Jeff Vandermeer before, but I've always thought that he would be an author that I would really love. And Annihilation knocked my socks off. It is creepy. It is atmospheric. It does not rely on characters to tell the story. It does not rely on action points to tell the story. It just relies on a creepy atmosphere of Area X. And I was so sucked in. The amount of work and world that has been put into 129 pages, which is the first book in a Southern Reach trilogy, is just incredible. We follow an expedition as they go into Area X. We are told at this point it is expedition number 12 into this particular area. There's an entity that is being studied in this area, and people tend to either not come out alive, or when they come out, they're sort of zombified, and we do explore a previous expedition and what happened there. The character of the biologist, I would say, is the focal point of the book, and again, she's such a fascinating character. But because she's a biologist and because she's hyperfixated on the environment is the real sell here. And I just thought it was a really cool way. It definitely reiterated to me that psychological, atmospheric, sort of cosmic horror is my jam, which is probably why I liked Icebreaker by Stephen William Hanna so much last year. And yeah, I loved it. I'm currently halfway through Authority as we speak, and I'm enjoying it. It's different, but I'm enjoying it. Maybe not as much as the first book, but enough to continue on with the series, which now has a fourth book. We won't get into that. And the last one that I actually finished in the month of September, no, the month of August, because I know how time works, was Club Contango by Elaine Bowie, which I'll put up here. This is a sci-fi slash cyberpunk fever dream. We are following the owner of an illegal casino on a space station called Freeport, called Club Contango, and sorry, her name is Connie, and she runs the club here. She is really battling with who she is and what that means. And this book was so thematic, and like I said, it was a fever dream. The chapters themselves feel quite almost disjointed as you read them, and you're chopping and you're changing with this character, but it's written that way because you are experiencing this woman's life as she's experiencing her life, and she's really going through it, and she's trying to make sense of the relationships that she has, of the places in her life, of what meaning she brings to it. And there is also quite a heavy theme of depression in this, and they call it the black bird, or the bird that sits on her shoulder. And it was just fascinating. I had a fantastic time. It's definitely drawn me to Elaine Bowie as an author. I do want to read more of this author's work because it's not going to be for everyone, but I'm learning more and more that I really like these deeply thematic themes that stay with me and I want to think about long after the fact. So those were the things that I finished. I did also do a beta read for the first third of the book by M.T. Fontaine called Carved on Flawed Dreams, which I think will be a 2025 release, but I got to do the first third of that. And I also read two more of the books inside of Told the Hounds by Stephen Erickson. At this point, I don't even know if I'm going to finish it in September. The way I'm tackling those books now is sort of different to how it was, so I can keep sort of working my way through a TBR and not jump into a reading slump or not sort of hate my life. As much as I'm enjoying the Erickson books, they do take a lot of time and a lot of brain power for me at this point at book 8 to try and keep up with everything. So maybe that'll happen in September's reading wrap up. We'll wait to see. But those are the books. What did you read in the month of August? Let me know in the comments down below. I think I've interchanged August and September this entire video, but we're just going to go with it. If you like the content, give one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao.